Hello and welcome to the Mind After the Game. And I am joined today by Leslie Nease from Season China. So we're going to have a quick ad break and then we'll get right into it.
Lucy Nicotine is a company founded by Caltech scientists and former smokers looking for a better and cleaner nicotine alternative. Finally, tobacco alternatives that don't suck.
Researched and developed for 3 years to be made for people, not patients. Lucy has created a nicotine gum with 4 milligrams of nicotine that comes in 3 flavors: wintergreen, cinnamon, and pomegranate. Lucy also has a lozenge with 4 milligrams of nicotine in cherry ice flavor. Each and every flavor actually tastes great, and it's convenient and discreet. Products can be enjoyed anywhere, on flights, at work, on the go, or even in the gym.
I am so happy that Lucy is sponsoring us. Ever since they came on board, I have gotten no less than 5 of my friends transitioned over to Lucy and put their cigarettes down. They like the gum. I'm used to seeing the packages all around. This stuff is great, and it's really helping people make much healthier choices. So get on board and join the Lucy movement.
Hey, it's 2021. Get rid of your cigarettes, unplug your vape, throw out your dip, and get some Lucy nicotine gum or lozenges. This is the real deal. A subscription to Lucy comes directly to your door each month. It's so simple that you don't even have to leave your house because Lucy has delivery down.
Reality NSFW listeners, go to lucy.co and use promo code SURVIVOR to get 20% off all products, including gum or lozenges. That's lucy.co and use promo code SURVIVOR at checkout. Also, I have to give this disclaimer. Warning, this product contains nicotine derived from tobacco. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. That's lucy.co, and be sure to use that promo code SURVIVOR.
This episode of Reality NSFW is sponsored by Blue Chew. Say it with us, Blue Chew. Blue Chew is making waves and bringing more confidence to the bedroom by offering chewable tablets that can help men get stronger and longer lasting erections. That's right, we're giving away super hard dicks.
Blue Chew is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but in chewable form and at a fraction of the cost. Blue Chew's tablets help men achieve harder, stronger erections to combat all forms of ED.
Blue Chew is an online prescription service, so no visits to the doctor offices, no awkward conversations, and no waiting in line at the pharmacy. And it ships right to your door in a discreet package. The process is simple. Sign up at BlueChew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. And the best part, it's all done online.
Blue Chew's licensed medical providers work with you to find the right ingredient and strength for your prescription. Don't like swallowing pills? No problem here. Blue Chew's sildenafil and tadalafil tablets are chewable. Blue Chew's tablets are made in the USA and they prepare and ship direct, so it's cheaper than a pharmacy.
Hey, if you're looking to give that immunity idol to someone, or you don't want to be voted out of a crater, don't worry, Blue Chew's got you covered. So if you could benefit from extra confidence when it's time to perform, visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information.
And we've got a special deal for our listeners. Try Blue Chew free when you use promo code SURVIVOR at checkout. Just pay $5 shipping. That's Blue Chew, BlueChew.com, promo code SURVIVOR to receive your first month free. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring the podcast.
We're all trying to eat better, but healthy breakfast doesn't have to be boring. Magic Spoon has the amazing flavors you love, but without all the bad stuff. And it's amazing as a midnight snack right before bed.
0 grams of sugar, 13 to 14 grams of protein, and only 4 net grams of carbs in each serving. That's only 140 calories per serving.
It's keto-friendly, gluten-free, grain-free, soy-free, and low-carb. And build your own box. Available flavors to build your very own custom bundle are cocoa, fruity, frosted, peanut butter, blueberry, cinnamon, cookies and cream, and my favorite, maple waffle. Now, Magic Spoon recently brought back their 2 super popular flavors, cookies and cream and maple waffle. Thank goodness. But they're back permanently. And when these flavors were first introduced for a limited time, they sold out extremely quickly. Now, I'm here to let you know you can get them again or try them for the first time. Why? Because they're delicious and indulgent.
Johnny, Magic Spoon has so many great flavors that I really enjoy, and even my kids enjoy them. We have the cocoa, fruity frosted, peanut butter. All these are really great combinations. They enjoy waking up in the morning and getting some Magic Spoon right off to start their day great before they head off to school. I think everybody listening should give Magic Spoon a try, or if you've tried them already, it's time to reorder. Let's get you some more Magic Spoon and get your day started right.
Hey, when I finish a podcast late at night, the first thing I'm thinking is not sleep. It's let me grab a delicious bowl of Magic Spoon before I go to bed.
So go to magicspoon.com/survivor to grab a custom bundle of cereal and try it today. And be sure to use our promo code survivor at checkout to save $5 off your order. And Magic Spoon is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 100% happiness guarantee. So if you don't like it for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. Remember to get your next delicious bowl of guilt-free cereal at magicspoon.com/survivor and use the code SURVIVOR to save $5 off. Thank you, Magic Spoon, for sponsoring this podcast.
All right, here we are.
Hi, Sarah.
Hello. I'm so happy that you're able to meet with me, Leslie. And you responded to me so quickly, and it was awesome. So I'm so happy.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. So like I told you a little bit, this podcast is focused on you as a person instead of you as a player. So I know that it's been a while since China. So I guess we'll start by, if you could tell me a little bit, how was it before you started the game? About with casting, just you got this call that you're going to be on this show. What was that like?
Well, I mean, if you know my story, I auditioned 11 times before they finally called. So, and it was actually really exciting. I remember when I got my phone call, I was on my way to Target and I was in a really bad mood because my 2 youngest kids were in the back seat and my daughter Kennedy had a project due the very next day and just told me about it. And it was like one of those, like, run to Target, get everything you need to make sure this project is ready for tomorrow. So I'm mad. And I get this phone call on my way to Target and it was from a private number. And you know, I've been auditioning for years, 5.5 years.
Yeah.
And so everybody knew that I was sort of auditioning for Survivor and it was kind of a joke. You know what I mean at this point?
Yeah.
And so when she said, you know, this is Donna from Survivor Casting, is this Leslie? I was like, shut up. Like, I thought it was a friend of mine, like, being stupid. And she was, no, I'm serious. You know, we love your application, but we can't find a video for you. Yeah, I had gone to a open casting call in Columbia, South Carolina. And I guess I don't know if they didn't like my video, but I don't know. She was like, we kind of wanted to just talk to you and see, you know, what you're all about. And so I pulled over and my girls are in the back seat. Is that Jeff Probst? I was like, no. But it was neat. It was like a dream come true. I mean, really, really amazing. I remember it was March 8th, 2007. I remember the day. I remember it was just so cool. Such an amazing moment.
Yeah, I can only imagine. So then you probably had to fly to go to the final casting pretty soon after that, I would assume.
Yeah, it wasn't too long. It's funny because, you know, they needed a video, which they had one. I don't think they liked it, but they liked me. And so they said, do you have any other videos? And I was like, well, I've been auditioning for 5.5 years. So yeah, I'm sure I have one I can throw in there for you. And so I sent it to her and it was one that I was on Christian radio at the time. And one of my listeners was a videography student. And for her final exam, she made me a Survivor audition tape.
Oh,
and it's actually online. It's on Survivor. You know, they have like a CBS, like, here's what we're looking for kind of thing. She did it. So yeah, it was neat and they loved it. And then, yeah, they took me to LA and I don't know, it's weird. It's like, it was such a it wasn't like it is now. Like now, cell
Mm.
phones and social media and everything is so accessible. Like it was very cryptic and weird, and like, you know, I didn't have a cell phone that had anything on it except how to call people, you know, at that
Yeah.
point. So I think my experience was probably a little different than some of the people.
Yeah, and that's what I've heard too, because I know that you're there for about what, a week, 2 weeks? Is that kind of?
It was about 10 days.
Okay.
And yeah, there's like mental and physical, and you know, you talk to people and you watch a lot of episodes of Survivor. And I just remember, I don't know if they think we don't watch it. I was like, wait, are you kidding me? Like, I'm a super fan. There's no way I don't know what's going on in Survivor.
Right?
But they kept putting us in this room for hours watching Survivor. And I remember like I was miserable. I was like, this is so uncomfortable. We're all just sitting on these chairs watching. So the next day I was like, they were like, we're going to, you know, put you in a room. We're going to watch Survivor again. I was like, oh, great. So I took all my pillows off my bed and I put all the pillows around me and like sat there and laid there on the floor while everybody else was in their chairs. And then the very next one, everybody had their pillows. And I remember one of the casting people was like, Leslie, you got to quit bringing attention to yourself. You know, you're going to be the pillow lady. You're not going to be able to survive Survivor if you can't watch TV without, you know, pillows. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm just smart. Like literally everybody's doing it now. So whatever. But yeah, I was the pillow lady. So
hey, you know, you're not playing the game yet, right? So you need to be comfortable.
When I need to be uncomfortable, I will be uncomfortable very happily. But right now, I don't need to be uncomfortable. So yeah.
Oh, wow. So you go through that, and then the game's going to happen. You fly to China. Tell me more about that.
Well, I mean, I remember really, really vividly, like the very last night that I was there at my finals. It was a big deal because they were going to China. And so Mark Burnett was there and Jeff Probst, everybody, all the producers, everybody was there in this room. And they were like, you guys are the cast. You know, they said 98% sure. They don't tell you for sure because they don't want you to tell people and whatever.
True.
But they said, any guesses where we're going? And we were all like, no idea. And they're like, we're going to China. And like, everybody's like, yeah. And I was like, what? I have been trying out for Survivor for 5.5 years. I've been thinking about palm trees and coconuts and ocean. And you're going to put me in a mud pit in China. Oh, I was so mad, but it's okay. You know, you don't look a gift horse in the mouth. I was just happy to be playing.
Yeah, no, I can understand that. I mean, you go on the show and you have certain expectations. I mean, now you kind of know if you get on the show, you're probably going to Fiji, right?
Yeah,
I mean, who knows? Maybe it'll change one day. Maybe Georgia. No, I'm kidding. Yeah. You never know.
You never know. I know they're not going back to China. That's for sure. That was awful.
Yeah,
it was really dirty and gross and took us forever. I mean, I remember like they did take my cell phone, which is funny because like literally it was just a phone call. You couldn't do anything else with it, but they took my cell phone. And we weren't allowed to talk to each other if we saw people, you know, we weren't allowed to, which makes so much sense. I'm sure somebody has told you this, like they don't want you forming relationships with people outside of what people can watch. And so if you're already on the island or in the mud pit, if you're already there and you've got relationships, then it's not fair to the viewers, you know? So I was really careful about being very good about not talking to anybody because I did not want to get in trouble. I hate getting in trouble. But yeah, it was weird. And then we got on this plane and of course they spread us out. We can't sit with each other. And I'm sitting with, you know, it was just packed with, you know, Chinese people because we're going to China. And I just remember all the smells, like their food was so different. Everything was different. And I remember about halfway to China, which it was a very long flight. I looked over and there was this Chinese little girl who was about my youngest daughter's age. And something happened in me. Like I like my arms ached. Like I just wanted to hold her. You know what I mean? It was like, and I thought, oh, this is going to be a long 2 months because this is already starting like, but yeah, it hit me pretty quickly that, you know, this was a long time to be away from your family. And even though I knew they were fine, it was still really hard. So
yeah, I can't imagine. I've been away from my family for maybe a week at a time. And it's nothing like that. It's so long. So you get to China,
Mhm.
and I know that there's like a certain amount of time between the show starting and
Yeah.
actually getting there. And I know that I've heard from people that it feels weird when you're
It's
there
really
because
weird.
yeah.
It's weird because it's so different than your life. I mean,
Hmm.
you think about it. There's in my season 16
Hmm.
type A, very strong personalities who are being told
Oh
not to
yeah.
talk.
Oh
And
geez.
and meanwhile, you have to like get around. I mean, China,
Hmm.
I don't know if you remember, the opening scene was such a big deal. We first landed in Beijing. We had a meeting with the producers. They told us you're going to hate each other, but it's going to be fine by the, by the reunion. Everybody's going to love each other. So just let it go. It's just part of the game. Um,
Mhm.
it was just really interesting. And then we went to Shanghai and
Mhm.
and filmed a bunch of things with us carrying our luggage everywhere.
Oh
Um,
wow.
and then we got in oh my gosh, it was like planes, trains, and automobiles. So we were in Shanghai, then we get on a train that was like 20, it was like 24 hours or something. I mean, it was
Oh
ridiculous. It was
wow.
like overnight train. We each had our own bunk. We weren't allowed to talk. We had babysitters there to make sure we didn't talk.
Mm.
And which is fine. And anyway, after that, then we got on a bus and we were on a bus for a couple of hours. I mean, literally, it took us so long to get there. And by the time we got there, um, we were kind of put up in these little bungalows, and we weren't supposed to talk to each other. And so I just journaled a lot. I was in my head a
Mhm.
lot.
I bet.
Kind of a big deal for me. I was a Christian radio host, the weight of the world on my shoulders, like so afraid to make God look bad, but knowing I wanted to play
Mhm.
my favorite game. And I didn't know how I was going to do it. And I just remember praying and being like, I don't know how I'm going to do this, God. And he's like, you're just going to show up and just be yourself. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay. So that's what I did. But it was pretty amazing.
Yeah. So I heard from some people too that when the game starts, I had somebody tell me that they just woke you up at 3 a.m. and just like the game is starting now. Tell
Well,
me
they
about
didn't
that.
tell us that. They didn't say it was the
Oh.
starting. They didn't let us know anything. I mean, we
Oh.
had been there for about a week and a half doing press interviews, still not talking, going to
Oh
survivor
jeez.
school,
Oh.
learning what snakes are bad and what snakes aren't, which
Mhm.
I spent that entire thing like standing on a chair because like they had real
Oh.
snakes. I was like, me and Sharia, we were terrified. It was hilarious. I was like, we are showing our cards, girl. But anyway, yeah, so we did that for about a week and a half. And then 4 o'clock in the morning one day, they were like, put on your press outfits.
Mhm.
We've got a press thing that you need to go to. But I knew. I was like, 4 in the
Mm.
morning. I know what this means. This game is starting. And then we put
Wow.
on the outfits that were our press outfits, which were what we ended up
Mm.
wearing in the game. So,
Wow.
and then we got on another boat and then another bus. And then we walked up 500 stairs with our luggage to a temple. Yeah. Our opening scene was in a temple in China.
Wow. It was beautiful.
It was
I will
gorgeous.
say that.
It was really pretty.
Yeah. So what was your mindset like during all this?
To be honest, and I can say this now. I don't know how I would have described it back then.
Mhm.
Except maybe uncomfortable for me being a Christian and being at
Mhm.
this temple. And about halfway up, I didn't know we were going to a temple. We were just going up these stairs.
Okay.
They're like, walk up the stairs. We were like, wait, there's like a million of them, and they're like, yeah. Um,
It's
sorry,
the
I'm
warm
getting
up.
over.
Oh, no worries.
I am not sick anymore, but I sound like I am.
Takes a bit.
Yeah. So anyway, we about halfway up, I started smelling incense. And
Mhm.
so that's when I knew, okay, this is a temple, which was fine. I have nothing against that. It's just that as a Christian, I was like questioning if some of the things they were going to ask me to do were going to go against my convictions.
Understandable.
Wondering. I wasn't scared, maybe a little uncomfortable, but I think now I would call it fear. I think in
Wow.
retrospect, I was afraid because I put a lot of pressure on myself before I went out there to not lie, to not
Mhm.
be, a bad witness, to not make God look bad. I put
Mhm.
all of that on me. Um, I think as Christians, a lot of us do that. We
Mhm.
think, the weight of the world is on us. I mean, we're taught even, I remember being taught as a young Christian, like, you've got to tell people about Jesus. And if they don't know, they're going to die and they're going to go to hell. And their blood is going to be on your hands because you didn't tell them. And so when you add that pressure to the fact that now you're on this reality show, they cast me as the Christian person, which I knew they were based on my interviews.
Yeah.
Not that many people that I've talked to from Survivor were asked, what is the last sin you committed? You know what I mean? Like,
interesting. That's a weird question to ask.
Well, it actually worked in my favor because Jeff Probst was there, and I said, it was when Jeff Probst walked in the room, and they all laughed. It worked in my favor. I think he liked that answer.
That's good.
Yeah, but I was like, really? Do you ask everybody that? I remember saying at one point, like, is this something that you ask everybody, or just the people that you're going to typecast as a Christian? So. Yeah, it was interesting. And then we got to that point. It was like an hour and a half or so in the temple, and then we got to the point where they did ask us to bow in front of the statue. I didn't know what it meant, but it didn't feel right to me. I was very respectful and just excused myself, and got a lot of flack for that. It's funny, like there was no winning as a Christian on Survivor because. I had a lot of Christians who were mad at me for being there in the first place. Why would you be on a show like this? There's backstabbing and there's, all this stuff. And you're a Christian. You shouldn't be promoting that. Meanwhile, I'm like, there's backstabbing in businesses and even in the church, believe it or not. So you really can't get away from it. So that was hard. And it was hard because people who weren't Christians didn't understand me and were very judgmental. Everybody has an opinion.
Oh, yeah.
You really put yourself out there. And I'm so grateful that it was 2007 before social media is the way it is now.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I mean, honestly, I don't know how they do it in today's world. Like people are so mean. It's like they just wait for the cast to be announced so they can tear them apart because it's not them. You know what I mean? Like they want to be on the show so bad that all they want to do is tear everybody apart who gets on it.
It's terrible. I said that in my last episode, actually, that the worst part of season 41 was probably the fans, honestly. And it's terrible. And just treating people. And that kind of comes to the whole point of this too, is seeing people as people and not as a character on TV because everyone's a person. I've been told by a couple of players before that, I'm no celebrity. I'm just a person who got a great experience. I'm just like you. And I think people forget that.
Well, they do forget. And it's very, it's hard because they're basically, they're being supplied with a singular view of who they are. I always say when you're on a reality show like Survivor, you are not multidimensional anymore. You are single dimensioned. They point out one part of your character, who you are as a person, and then that's what they hone in on. For me, it was my faith. And to be honest with you, like that's probably the best part of me. So
well, there you go. Worked out.
I'm good with that. But you know what? They didn't show my gameplay. And that really upset me as a super fan because I had some really great gameplay. They didn't show any of it because it didn't line up with what they were trying to create. And that's what you need to remember. When you watch these shows, the people are multidimensional. I remember watching back, Courtney and I became really close, which was really funny because I'm like the Christian mom from the South. And she's like this, every other word is F word. And, waitress from New York with a major, if you've seen it, attitude. But, I didn't see that part of her ever until I watched the show. And then I was like, what? Like, I couldn't believe it because to me, she was lovely and she was kind and she thought of everyone above herself. She gave massages. She was so sweet. She got up in the middle of the night when I was sick so that, she'd walk with me. So I would have light from a camera because like a camera's not going to follow you by yourself. That's boring. But if you have somebody with you, they're going to follow you. And that's the only way I could have light to see where I was going if I was going to go get sick in the middle of the night, which I did a lot. Yeah. And she was always like, just wake me up, mama. Just wake me up. Like such a sweetheart. And they did not show any of it. They showed only the parts that described her the way they wanted her to be seen.
Wow.
So remember that when you watch these shows. These
Mhm.
people have so much more to them, and I know it. And that's why when I watch it, I don't get sucked into that anymore.
Yeah, I try not to.
Yeah.
That's why it's after meeting a couple of people, and it's it's awesome, and everybody has their own character, and nobody. It's kind of like, anybody who portrays themselves just on social media in general usually
Yeah.
are deeper than what they portray there. So
Mhm.
it's always important to remember that a screen is only half of what you really see.
Not even half. Like
True, probably quarter, not even.
maybe
Yeah.
an eighth. I mean, I'm not even kidding.
Wow.
Because they only show that one part of you, that just, your character. You are a character in a show,
Mhm.
and you're a narrator. That's
Mm.
when they put you on the show, a lot of why they want you to do a video is because they want to see, can you talk to a camera? Are you okay? Are you comfortable with it? Do you tell a story well? And we are the narrators. Nobody else narrates that show but the contestants. Have you
Yeah.
noticed? I mean,
Yeah.
Jeff is starting to now.
I know.
But
I know.
and
It's
I hate it.
interesting,
I think
right?
it's so dumb. I'm like, stop it. He's like, so this is what's going on. And you're like, I know. I mean, I'm watching it. I get it.
You're like, I get it, Jeff. It's okay.
Yeah, you don't have to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just, I think that was the hard part for me, being out there, being misunderstood a little bit. Um, and, as humans, I think one of our deepest needs is connection.
Hmm.
And connection on Survivor is really tricky. You
I
know
can
what I
only
mean?
imagine.
If you do connect with somebody, there's this game element that, are they in your alliance or are they not? And
Yeah.
can you betray them? And if you do, can you live with yourself? And when you're
Mhm.
going in there, like I remember thinking, I am going to rule this game. I'm this woman. They're going to think I'm so trustworthy and dependable, but it's a game. Like, and I even remember saying in my interviews, I'm like, listen, I play balderdash with my kids, and I kick their butts, and I do not apologize. And I lie, and I make it, and I'm really good at it. And
Yeah.
so like, that was my mindset. I'm like, I'll do the same thing in Survivor. But you get out there and you're starving and you're sick and you're hot and then you're cold and then you're scared and you're alone and you're misunderstood and you don't have anything. You're stripped of everything. And
Yeah.
the weirdest thing for me, and I'm sorry about my voice. I literally had COVID and now I'm
You
don't, but anyway.
you really sound fine. No
Okay, good,
worries.
good. I just, I don't know. It was just really difficult because I felt like um, I wanted to make relationships with people, but I
Mhm.
couldn't tell if they were genuine. I wanted
Mm.
to play the game, and I did, but then they didn't show it. And
Yeah.
there's nothing you can do about it. You basically sign your life over and say you can do
Mhm.
whatever you want, and you want to be on the show so bad you don't care. You just sign it. Whatever.
Yeah. And I mean, that makes sense. I get it. I mean, they're trying to make good TV. So I
And
get it.
I think that's the point. Like,
Yeah.
just remember, it's TV.
Mhm.
Is it reality? Yeah. I mean, it was as real as it gets for me. Like, I've heard people
I
say,
bet.
"Oh no, I heard they get water," and I'm like, okay, I didn't get anything for 9 days when I was out there,
Wow.
and it was hard. I lost 17 pounds in 9 days. Had a
Holy crap.
parasite. They don't show you the sick parts. Like, I was so sick. I literally have had problems with my digestive system ever since. It just,
Really?
yeah. I mean, you think about, we're in this lake in the middle of China that has
Yeah.
parasites that have not even been identified yet.
Mm.
And all of us, we all got sick. I think even the staff got sick in China.
Wow.
So it was tough. But
I can only imagine.
you want to hear something crazy? I would do it
I do.
again. I would do it again
Yeah.
because
I
it was the experience of a lifetime.
Yeah, and
Definitely.
that's what I've heard is no matter how hard it is, and I've heard that some people do, they get sick. I haven't heard anybody say that they still have issues. That's wild. So I guess we should just jump right into maybe after. What was it
Yeah.
like leaving and coming home?
Well, it's funny. My kids actually were talking about this the other day. They were like, "Mom, remember when you came back from Survivor and you were purple?" And I was like, "What?" They said when I came back, I was purple. I
Oh,
don't remember this. But like my skin, I was so sick and
wow.
had so many weird things going on, that my skin was different. And
Wow.
apparently they made fun of me and said I looked like Barney, but they didn't. They did it behind my back, which is nice.
Oh, well, that's good at least.
Yeah. But I just remember there was a lot of, I don't know. Okay, for one thing, water. Even to this day, like you won't find me anywhere without water. I have it everywhere. It did something in me to not have water. Like
Yeah.
it made me realize that if I don't have water, I could die. And like now, and I remember having panic attacks when I came back. I remember my husband took me to the beach when I came back, and I went down to the beach and forgot my water up in the room, and I literally started sweating and shaking. And he was like, "It's okay, it's okay." Like it's like a PTSD thing. Like I can't ever do without water again. It was really scary. So that was hard. It was hard because I was completely riddled with bug bites and looked really sick.
Yeah.
And so if people knew I was on Survivor and saw me, they would think that I got they probably would have thought I won the way I looked. You know what I mean? And I was like on for 9 days. So I just didn't go anywhere. I was very in myself for probably a month and a half, 2 months. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I just wanted to be left alone. I think spiritually I was struggling, emotionally, physically, all of it. It was just really, really hard. And then when I started to come out of it, that's when it aired.
Oh, geez. Then it's all over again.
And I remember the first time I watched like the first episode, I had a hurl bucket next to me because I felt like I was going to throw up. Because I was like, how are they going to portray me? What are they going to make me look like? And it was hard to watch, you know, the way that I mean, I think they were kind in my edit. Don't get me wrong. But like I said, that one dimension, it just made it look like I was out there just, you know, preaching Jesus, and that's all I was there for. And listen, when you're a Christian, that's what you do. You can't help it. But that wasn't all I did. And it was hard to be judged by that.
Yeah. I can only imagine that. And how was your church community when you came home?
Well, you know, I was still on Christian radio, and they were really supportive. It's funny, the Christian radio station that I worked at, when I interviewed to do the morning show, I said, okay, listen, I try out for Survivor every 6 months, and one day I'm going to get picked. So I need you to know up front, I'm going to need time off. And they were like, oh, no problem. Well, then, you know, 2-3 years later, I get the call. And so they had to let me off. It was funny. But they were really supportive. But, you know, there were people that called it, I call them the crusaders, the people that, you know, always have a cause and want to just, you know, defend God because, you know, he needs defending. And they were very judgmental about me being on the show. I remember the first time we won the first immunity challenge, we had the idol and James took it over to me to kiss it. And I kissed it. And then I went, oh no. And sure enough, people were like, oh my gosh, she's kissing idols. She's a heathen.
It's immunity idol.
Terrible. Like everything I did was judged by some.
Wow. That's
by
wild.
The crusaders. Now, there was also a really great support system. So don't get me wrong. But I think I was surprised. I was surprised how many people in my church community had something to say about me that wasn't necessarily kind. It was surprising.
That's so unfortunate. And you see a lot of that, especially today. I saw that a lot with Shan and her getting a lot of flack for the way she played the game. But even you understand that it's part of a game. It's a game. It's like Monopoly.
It's a game. And listen, she was so entertaining. I loved her. I would love to meet her, but I'm like not reaching out to her because
she's probably so busy
right now. So I'm like, I don't want to be like that. So I'm being very kind and letting it simmer a little bit. But I mean, her little theme music and she played the game the way I would have loved to have played the game, but I was afraid. She played the game without fear. And for that, I am so happy.
Yeah, I think that was great.
That's what it looks like when a Christian can play the game without fear.
Yeah,
This is
and
the game.
I can only imagine the kind of I remember seeing all the hate comments, but seeing kind of how she's being treated now. But I feel bad because it's true. It's a game. It's a great opportunity, and you want to go on there and play your hardest. You don't want to look back and then be disappointed, like, oh wow, I didn't do what I needed to because I was
Right.
being held back by this.
Because I was afraid. Because I was
Mhm.
afraid of how
And
I
it,
would look.
and it
Or
makes sense.
I remember thinking, oh, I'm going to make God look bad. And I remember being pushed off a boat at one point, and I said a cuss word. It was like day 8, and I'm surrounded by these people who are cussing, right? And of course, it rubbed off on me a little bit. And I think I just needed to say a cuss word. You know what I mean? Sometimes you
Yeah.
just say a cuss word.
Hmm.
But being on Christian radio, you know,
Oh yeah, no.
being in ministry, all of that. Ugh. So I was so upset. I cried and I cried and I cried and I cried and I prayed. And I'm so sorry, God. They're going to show the Christian lady cussing. They're going to show it. They didn't show it. They didn't show it because it didn't line up with their view of who I was.
That makes sense.
So I spent 3 months of my life in so much torment. And I remember praying the next day. I'm like, God, they didn't even show it. I'm so sorry. I hope, I was so afraid I was going to make you look bad. And it was like he said to me, "You're not that powerful. Like, get over yourself. You can't." And it was so humbling. I was like, you're right. Why do I do this to myself? I put more pressure on me than God does, and that was just a prime example of that. So, if I ever played it again, I don't need to defend the God of the universe. I am but a woman, a human woman who is completely not perfect. And I think honestly, what I've learned over the years is that it's not so much about like if I went out and did bad thing, if I went out and lied or cheated or whatever, and the world saw like, what are you going to do with that? Are
Yeah.
you gonna are you gonna say, I acknowledge that, like that was wrong, I shouldn't have done that, or it's part of the game. That's what you do in the game. Like, ugh, what are you supposed to do? You literally end up. And there was one point where I didn't have a choice but to lie, because no matter what I did, I was going to have to lie.
Yeah.
They wanted to know when I had been kidnapped to the other team. They're like, what did the note say? Okay, so here's my situation. I could just say what the note said, but then I'm betraying my alliance.
Yeah.
Or I could lie about what the note said and be strong with my alliance. And either way, I was going to lose. And I
Yeah.
remember talking to a producer about that and just bawling. Like, this game is ridiculous. Like, you can't not lie at some point. And I really wanted to come in here and not lie, but you can't. And then it was a big deal realizing that.
Yeah, and I think sometimes obviously just doing this experience, you're a very strong woman. And I
Yeah.
hope that this experience empowered you in a way as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's taught me so much. I mean, and like I said, I don't live my life in fear anymore. I don't really care as much about what people think about me. They say when you go through something like that, it sort of heals you of that. You don't have a choice but to go, I just don't care what you think. And I've had to say to people, man, it's such a great thing that your opinion of me makes no impact on my life whatsoever, because for some reason you feel like you have to tell me that, but I really don't care. It doesn't matter. Like,
Yeah,
it doesn't
it
matter
doesn't.
to me. And that's a rub too, because as a Christian, we are, we want to represent God well, and we, all that. But again, I can't live in fear of that. I have to be my authentic, true self
Yes.
in every situation. And I've learned to do that. I've learned to open my, I was in a Christian bubble for a long time, very protected. It was very easy to walk out my faith. I burst out of my bubble to go on Survivor and realize that there are other human beings out there who are worthy of love and who are
Yeah.
amazing. And so my heart has expanded, like my faith has expanded. Everything is just, it really has helped me more than it's hurt me. So I'm
That's good.
thankful.
Yeah, I can only imagine too. And you get this wild experience. You meet a variety of people because, like you even said, you were so close with Courtney, who is probably somebody you probably never expected to be, especially after watching, I guess.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
And you really realize that people are people, and instead of worrying about kind of what bubbles they fit in. And I think that's a great lesson for today too, is,
Yeah.
living authentically to who you are, not what society expects you to be.
Or even what you think your religion expects you to be. That was hard for me. Like,
Yeah.
I've always been a yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. I was, like I said, when we weren't supposed to talk to people, guess what? I didn't. Like, I
Yeah.
was such a good girl. And it was so hard to kind of like realize that at some point you can't always
Mhm.
be the perfect person. There's no such thing. And so
Yeah.
you either embrace who you are or you're miserable. And I choose to embrace myself. And it's been pretty amazing. So no
Oh,
regrets.
I bet it's made you a lot happier in just life in general.
Well, it has. It's helped me to kind of let go of unrealistic expectations of myself.
Hmm.
It's helped me to be able to just wake up and go, I'm just going to be myself today.
Mhm.
Um, and it's funny how the people that want you to be in this box or whatever,
Mhm.
um, they they sort of go, you know, when you
Yep.
start saying, I'm not going to be in that box. Sorry, that's not who I am. And when you start just being who you really are, then all of a sudden you realize, I mean, they don't really have time for you anymore because you are not controllable anymore.
Yeah.
And so that's been a fun realization.
Yeah. You find the people who really matter.
Well, and you realize too, like, what was the message of Jesus Christ? What was his
Mhm.
message? It
Mhm.
was really, he was trying to break us away from compartmentalizing people and putting them in boxes. He
Mhm.
was all, he wanted everybody to get along, and he was
Yeah.
very accepting and loving and kind, and I don't know, it was an interesting sort of experience for me spiritually to go out there and just love people. And it didn't matter what their
Mhm.
lifestyle was or where they were from or what religion they were or weren't.
Mhm.
Just loving people right where they are is something that I've learned um, through Survivor. Really, it's been great.
That's amazing. And
Hmm.
so it sounds like that's probably one of your biggest takeaways from playing Survivor is that authenticity and loving people for people
Hmm. Hmm.
regardless. And I think that's a great lesson that people can learn today too in general, because everybody does. I feel like we're putting people into boxes a lot more nowadays than we used to. And if you don't fit in your box, then you're an outsider. So it's nice to be able to hear people talk about how people are people and everybody is different. Everybody has their own belief system, their own everything. But at the end of the day, we're all people.
Well, and everybody deserves to be heard.
Hmm.
If they're
Yep.
saying something, here's the thing: if somebody believes something different than me and they want to tell me about it, that in no way threatens me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, and I
Hmm.
think the way we get so, oh, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to do it. Like, stop.
Hmm.
You're wrong. I'm right. What if we listened? What if we could
Oh,
grow? What if we could actually
beautiful.
grow as humans and like love people and not be us versus them? The us versus them is so bad right now, and
It
it's
really
bad
is.
everywhere. And it's literally, it makes me so sad. It breaks my heart because every single person deserves to be loved, and every single person deserves to be heard and understood.
Mhm.
So
I 100% agree with you. And that's, I think, one of the other big reasons I wanted to do this because everybody does. And
yeah.
I know that every time you talk to a fan, well, not every time, but you talk to fans or you talk to, the game and these things. But there's so much more to it than that. It really is. It's a huge
Well,
experience and it's the experience of a
it
lifetime, like you
is.
said.
It is. And I remember too the psychiatrist.
Mm.
When you're voted out, you stay in Ponderosa. I know everybody
Yes.
probably knows all about that now. There were some things that happened to people that were pretty intense once they were
Yeah.
voted out. And she would talk to them, and then she would call me in and she'd say, do you think you could maybe pray with them or share something with them about your faith?
Yeah.
And I would go in and I would pray with people. And I gave Bibles away. I was talking to people. I was just loving them right where they were in their sadness,
Mhm.
and in the things that they were going through. And she said to me before we left, She said, I wish you had your PhD. I never realized how important it was to have a chaplain out here. And she
Wow.
goes, I would love to bring you with me. And I was like, I ain't coming back. I don't, that was a lot. I was like, no, honestly, I've got kids at home, but thank you.
Mhm.
And it was just really, to me, an opportunity for me to see that it doesn't matter where you are
Mhm.
or what you're doing, like you can be a light. And,
Yes.
and if you decide to be a light, then God will use you as a light, period.
Mhm.
So,
You have to spread your gift with people, and
yeah,
the sometimes just the ability to, even in the mental health world, sometimes it's
yes,
forcing people to change, where sometimes people just need to be listened to and heard, and not
listen,
necessarily need to change. So that's in
yeah.
a place too. So it's so important how much just validating somebody can change their life, and just being there.
Listening, just listen to them,
Mhm.
just hear them, and and you realize too when you've been judged how that feels. Like I
Mhm.
don't know why so many people are so like angry and judgmental at this point in my life. Like I don't know, I'm 52 now. When I was on the show, I was 38, and they called me the old lady, and I laughed.
Oh,
I'm like, oh my god,
jeez.
I'm like 52 now. What would they call me now, Grandma? But
Oh
I just,
no.
just when you've been through that, you have a response of either I'm going to be that way now to other people, which is
Mhm.
miserable, or you
Mhm.
can say, okay, I didn't like how that felt, so I don't want to make anybody else feel that way. And I think if people are going to actually be refined
Mhm.
through the fire of Survivor, which I think every one of us is,
Mhm.
you have to be willing to kind of learn from the hard stuff and
Yes.
grow from it. And that I think that's why I have so many connections within the Survivor community, because we've been through a collective experience that is incredibly life changing and difficult. Um, and I think what comes from that, you know, like I said, you can become something that you hate, or something, the way you were treated, you can become that, but then you're miserable.
Yeah.
Or you can say, okay, I'm going to be a voice of reason and make a difference in the world and not be like that.
Yeah, exactly. So I have heard that the community is great. I've heard that from multiple people. Is there anybody that you're particularly so close to that
Oh,
you talk to often or see sometimes?
I'm very close to quite a few of, I mean, I just love the Survivor community. I'm actually the one who started we have like a private Facebook page for
Oh, nice.
community of contestants. And I started it because I knew going into it, like, I don't feel like there is ever an opportunity in life that you're presented that isn't to help you um, form community and
Mhm.
create community. And so for me, the community is everything. And feeling that
Mhm.
understood kind of feeling together. And because what we've been through is so unique and different, the only people who can really understand are people who've been through it. So
Yes.
I just provide a safe space for people to go and connect when they're traveling in different places. And I would say probably who am I? I'm probably closest to Chrissy Hoffbeck right now,
Nice.
and Jill Bem, the Mom Squad, we call it.
That's cute.
We were women who were basically cast on different seasons for the same role.
Ah, okay.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And we get together a lot. And we went through a collectively difficult loss last year, when Sunday passed away. And
Yes.
that's kind of when you go, none of this other stuff really matters.
Yeah.
And I know Sunday's message was always love and acceptance and
Yes.
kindness and joy, and it was the message of Christ. And so, like,
Mhm.
I love her for that, and nobody would ever say that she wasn't a light. So I think me and Chrissy right now, and Jill, and from my season, of course, Courtney and we've
Mhm.
always been close. And I'm pretty close to Sharia. We traveled around together after we got voted out and got really,
Oh, fun.
and of course Todd. Love him. He's my boy. He's my Survivor kid. And yeah, he still calls me mama. And
Aw.
yeah, he lives actually like 30 minutes away. We see each other sometimes. He's
Oh.
really sweet.
Oh, that's
And
awesome.
yeah, I mean, it's a great little dysfunctional family. We love it, and we're all in each other's corner. It's pretty cool.
Mhm. Yeah, it's great that you have that. And I think it's so important too, because you really do need, and I mean, in any sort of, that's why AA is popular, Al-Anon, all these different groups are so popular, because being around like-minded people who've gone through similar experiences can be some of the most healing.
Oh,
So
it's
I think,
so empowering.
yeah.
It's so empowering, and it makes you feel less crazy.
Yep.
And
Mhm.
like I said, I think our deepest need is connection and being understood. And when we have that, it's phenomenal. So
Well, good. Well,
yeah.
like I said, thank you so much for coming here and being able to share your story. I appreciate it so much. Is there anything else that you think that we missed that you think that you want to say?
I can't think of anything. I mean, I just want to encourage people to remember that, the people that you see on the show are literal human beings just like you. Um, we're not a character. We do hear when people say bad things and when people are cruel, it
Mhm.
gets back to us and it hurts. And even though we learn from it and grow from it, I think maybe think before you post, because every person is still, a soul and deserves to be loved and heard. And I don't know, benefit of the doubt always.
Yes, I totally agree. And I'm going to push that too, because I
Yeah.
am really sick of seeing people be so mean to everybody. It's terrible. So
I just think we're just angry. Humans are
we
just
are.
mad. We're just angry. We're tired. We're sick.
Hmm.
We've just had
It's,
it with COVID. I think it's just, we're all just angry.
I
And,
would agree.
and I think the only antidote for that is kindness. And we have to choose it. It's not something that comes natural.
Hmm.
Um, so that's my message if I had one. So,
Well, no, I love that message. I try to, and you're not the first person on here that's been saying that message either. So,
really
um,
awesome.
yep. So it's not just you. So there's definitely other people who are feeling the same thing with the fans and how people talk to each other. So, but like I said, thank you so much for being here. I
Of
appreciated
course.
talking to you and hearing what you had to say. Um, so thank you, and everybody else. I hope you enjoy, and we will have more episodes soon. So have
Thank
a
you
great
so
one.
much. Have a
All
good day.
right. Yes, you too.